All right, guys, we're going to get into some holster stuff a little bit today, and more specifically, belt style holsters that you're going to find typically on the either a range belt style or a competition belt, or in other setups, a duty style belt for either law enforcement, security work, military, things of that nature. Okay. First things first, real quick, this one's pretty simple. This is a friction style holster, meaning there is no active retention device holding the gun in there other than the friction of the plastic on the gun. Okay. Uh, Basically, you can tension these two screws a little bit to put more or less friction and how the gun feels when you draw it, things of that nature. Okay. Nothing too fancy there. Pretty simple design. And it's a lot of what you're going to see in the competition realm. A lot of your inside the waistband concealed holsters, things of that appendix style holsters are friction, so to speak, holsters. All right, next ones we're going to get into are actual retention style holsters. Okay, both these are made by Safariland, and you'll hear terms like level 2, level 3 holster. For those of you that don't know, there is no set standard for what determines a level 2 or level 3 holster. Those are kind of terms that Safariland coined back in the day for their specific style holsters, and what a level 3 holster was and what a level 2 holster was. Okay. So once you start venturing outside of the brands of Safariland, they have different terminology for what they may use individually on what a level 3 and what a level 2 is. But as far as Safariland goes, this is what they consider a level 2 style holster. It has an active retention device, and on this one is done by what they call a ALS, or automatic locking system. That means when I put the gun in the holster, it automatically locks. I don't have to do anything to it. Okay, and it stays in there until I release the mechanism. And in that case, it's this little thumb brake right here. As I pull back on that thumb brake, what it does is it releases the mechanism inside, holding the gun in place, and the gun can be removed. Okay. Like I said, this is a level 2 by Safariland terms, retention style holster using an ALS. Okay, pretty simple design, very secure, definitely something to be used, and you can use law enforcement work, security work, military, things of that nature, where you want a more secure fit on your firearm. If you're running around or wrestling with somebody on the ground, your gun's not going to fall out by just force, so to speak. Okay, you, the user, have to put some input into the holster in order to get the gun out of there. Last one I'm going to show you is, again, from Safariland. This is a level 3 retention holster. Okay, again, these are terms coined by Safariland specifically, but in this case, it utilizes the ALS, the automatic locking system, that's deactivated with thumb to get the gun out. And this also has an SLS hood on it, which is the self-locking system, which is activated by the user and further locks the gun into place. Now, this is what you're going to see all over your law enforcement community, armed security, things of that nature. Anything where the possibility of a gun takeaway could happen in your line of work. They typically go to a level 3 style holster, or the most retention possible. Okay. Again, there's other companies, different styles that have their version of a level 3 holster. Again, they're all specific to the company themselves. Okay. But as far as Safariland goes, it uses a SLS, self-locking system, or self-locking system, and then the ALS, which is the automatic locking system. Again, which means as soon as you put the gun in there, it's held in place until you activate it by your thumb. Okay, there you go. Now, on that note, being this is probably the style of holster that most law enforcement use, okay, one of the things I see a lot, especially in classes, or those that don't have a lot of training or haven't put forth the effort, or whatever the case may be, is the understanding and the way you draw the gun from this holster. Okay. There are obviously two mechanisms that you have to defeat to unlock the gun and get the gun out of the holster. Okay. However, what I see a lot of, especially in officers that aren't properly trained, okay, they do what we call two-staging the locking systems. Okay, and that's where you see where officer will come in, they'll hit the SLS, the whole hand will move out of the way, and then they come back, activate the ALS and establish a grip, and then draw the gun. Okay, that is the improper way to remove or to draw the gun out of this holster. Okay, why? Again, time. It's unnecessary, wasted time in the draw process, where you're coming up, moving the hood, then coming back and establishing a grip, then unlocking the ALS and getting the gun out of there. Okay, that's what we commonly refer to as two-staging the holster. Cool. The proper way to do this, and I'll show this in another video later on as well, okay, is as you come in, you're going to establish your grip on the gun, and as you do so, your hand's going to land where it should on the grip, but also your thumb should hit right there on that little nub on the SLS platform. And as you're establishing your grip, you're pushing down with your thumb and pushing forward, and basically the web of your hand is following into your grip profile on the gun itself. At the same time you're doing so, okay, your thumb is right there on that SLS, okay, or sorry, that ALS, activating it and it removing the gun from the holster. It's one fluid motion. Okay, again, as I come in to establish my grip, okay, it's not this, then come back and draw the gun. Okay, one fluid motion. As I come in to establish my grip, my good thumb is activating that SLS, and at the same time as I tighten or get a proper grip on the gun, my thumb is activating that ALS. Okay, one fluid motion, and the gun is drawn from the holster. Okay. Now again, why officers do this? Because again, repetition and practice. Okay, they don't get shown properly, and then what do they continue to do? They rep out bad reps on it. Okay, and you'll see even seasoned, what I call seasoned officers, you know, guys that got several years on, see them out at the range, in a class or whatever the case may be, and they continue to two-stage that process. Okay, again, not what you're looking for. It is one fell swoop. Okay, to unlock both mechanisms all at once, establish a grip on the gun, draw the gun, and then if you need to use it, obviously use the gun. Okay. Now, again, it doesn't take much with a little bit of practice with this. Okay, you can get very quick on this mechanism. Okay, so just have an understanding it's not your holster that's setting you back on your draw process or on the speed of your draw, but more than likely your technique. Okay, now when I go into the draw process and talking about your speed of your draw and all that stuff, the difference between all these holsters speed-wise, from a standard friction holster, or what we call a competition style holster, to a level 3 retention holster, the speed difference shouldn't be more than a quarter of a second between all three, from the most extreme on one end to the most extreme on the other end. The speed difference shouldn't be more than really a quarter second difference between all three style holsters. Okay, so again, if you find yourself struggling with that, okay, do the reps, do the work, make sure you're doing it properly, get faster and faster, and believe me, it just takes the repetitions. You've got to put in the work, you've got to put in the reps, make sure you're doing it properly, and then you will find that, hey, this is just as fast, or can be just as fast as a standard holster, plus the added benefit of retention if you find yourself in those situations where, hey, someone may be trying to wrestle or take away your firearm. Cool. Like I said, I'll do another live video later showing you the draw process on actual belt for all three of these. Good to go.